Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a concerning and alarming weather pattern that is setting up across the, right now, western and southwestern portions of the US and Canada respectively. This thing is obviously in the form of a large heat wave. So we have temperatures that are soaring across the western United States and southwestern Canada, and it will continue to most likely intensify and spread across more numerous areas and into areas that may not have seen such heat in quite a while. So I kind of want to talk about that, show you different models, and show you what's to come and what other areas that are currently, not really experiencing heat, what they could be experiencing in regards to this pattern, whether or not you will stay cool or that heat will spread. So let me just start off by showing you the GFS. So this is basically an anomaly map. This basically shows you where temperatures are below average, wherever it's blue for that time at that given a date. You're based on historic climatology. And if it's, orange and it's above average, and you can see, obviously, the varying degrees. If it's 28 degrees above average in Celsius, which is a absolute monster anomaly, then, that's how the color looks. And, that rarely shows up on any given map. I think I've only seen that once through all my years of weather watching on any given map. And same thing with the negative 28, though I do believe I've seen the negative 28 in a few more times. Okay, so regardless, I just want to show this to you and show this... kind of play this out, not do too much talking, and give you an orientation of how this heat will spread. So here's a date. It's a bit small. Sunday, September 4th. I'll just kind of read it out. Here is, here it's actually a lot bigger right there. And you can see it also gives you the time. So this is Sunday into Monday now. And again, you can see that it's centered across the western United States, but it quickly starts spreading towards the north as well. You can see the northern plains, the Dakotas and Minnesota getting in on that. Look at that anomaly. Very, very strong. You can see getting into the northeast as well, though there will be cool pockets of air. An anomaly potentially, according to the GFS, you can see really starts forming across the northern United States into the middle part of September at this point. And it really, as far as this GFS model goes, it continues with that heat. Now, anything beyond hour 240 is a bit iffy, right? So, anything once we start getting into that long-range forecasting period is a bit questionable. But you can see that in the short term, these anomalies are also very extensive. 40, 50 hours out, we have pretty good confidence that that's going to occur the way this model is showing. And the further out it goes, the less confidence. But what we do have confidence is in that whatever the heat will be, to whatever degree, which the GFS really shows an extreme heat, to whatever degree, it will be spreading towards the east more and more and leaving the west. So at least that's good, right? The west right now is getting brutalized by this heat, but eventually, towards at least, by at least middle of September, this heat wave will be kind of exiting the southwest and western United States and southwestern Canada and leaving more into southern Canada and the northern United States. And do note that those anomalies could also be very, very, very extensive. Again, I'll show you an anomaly graph. I know this doesn't read the actual temperatures. I'll show you that in just a second, but I think this gives a little bit more justice to how extreme this pattern is. Obviously, what concerns me about this is, any heat wave can bring drought conditions. It is that towards the end of the growing season, so that's a silver lining. But especially across the west and southwestern Canada, forest fires could really easily be sparked up, especially if vegetation does dry up, and in many areas it already is kind of dried in the first place. And of course, just dangers when you have such high temperatures, hundreds plus, even in 90s. Humans could dehydrate really quickly. Same with animals and pets. So that's definitely something to note for. The European again shows extreme anomalies across the west this upcoming week. By this upcoming weekend, that starts spreading into the northern and central United States. You can see in several waves, maybe even reaching the east coast. But definitely also showing a shift towards the east in those temperature anomalies as we get towards the medium and especially long range outlook. And that, again, I guess helps out the southwestern United States or just the western United States and kind of eases it. But you can see that through at least next Saturday, Sunday, so 7 days from now, it will remain very warm across these areas, right? Let me quickly show you an ensemble graph. So this is basically many, many models combined. This is a very good look at, if you just kind of want an average look of, what the general consensus is, right? So If you look at just one model, there could be a lot of bias that that model has, right? And maybe the equations that it uses is something's off, the data's off. Here, if a ensemble shows such an anomaly, at any given time, that means that the confidence, the consensus is that, well, it will be warm in that area, more likely, very more likely than not. And notice that what they do show is very similar to what the individual models I showed. Again, starting off in the west, but by this upcoming weekend, you could see 10th, 11th, a bit, winding down towards the west and spreading out towards more the north. And again, you can see they start losing the shade, the intense shade, because it's further out, so the ensembles have a bit more of disagreement. So less confidence, though. You can still see it's a predominantly a warmer pattern. There are a bit of blue colors flashing here and there, but again, as I mentioned, I do believe this fall will be rather warm. Will it be filled with such heat waves like we're seeing like the one we're seeing right now? I don't know if it will be filled. I think we'll definitely see at least a few more like this. But it's definitely something to be kind of prepared for, as in the past few years, we've been increasingly seeing these extreme temperature anomalies, and really both sides, both aspects, right, in the cold and the warm. Predominantly during the fall, it's been the warm side that we've been seeing. That's been extremely concerning, especially with the forest fires and whatnot across the west, which is where this heat wave is currently settled across. Let's take a look at the actual temperatures now. So Fahrenheit readings, and anywhere you can see it's a bit small, the numbers. I'm gonna try zooming in. Hopefully that is a bit better. You can see there's little numbers, 80, 70, right, wherever that, 110. And here's the time, again, September 2nd, so this is, you can see 18th, that's, negative 18, that's in the past, and now we are at the present when I'm recording the 7. So notice that tomorrow, it will be hot. Monday, it will be hot. You can see those temperatures. Let me slow this down for you, because I could read out all the different locations, but it will be really, really hard. So I'm just going to go through this and show you. So this is what peak Monday looks like. Again, Los Angeles, probably hundreds, right? The plains starting to heat up. A lot of the valleys also very warm. Even the mountains, 40s, 50s, 60s. Not really cool for September. And notice that into Wednesday, into Tuesday, this continues. Especially the San Joaquin Valley, showing those brilliant purple colors there. Notice the plains get warmer and warmer each and every day, right? 105 across the Dakotas into Minnesota, Nebraska. Though by this upcoming weekend, notice the west does start kind of cooling off. We're seeing more 60s, 50s in there, especially in the mountains. Obviously, maybe even some frosts in the higher peaks, right? But do note that heat now is spreading across the northern central United States. That means Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, and this is again around this time next week. You can see hundreds, 90s widespread into southern Canada as well. Large cities, obviously, Nebraska, Kansas, heating up very quickly and easily. Look, you could be even seeing 90s as far north as Michigan still, anything past next week. So that's definitely going to be something to watch for. And again, this does go out pretty far, so anything again past 240, preferably 270 hours, is really something that should be taken with a lot of, I wouldn't say grain of salt, because that's a bit too aggressive, but taken it with a lot of doubt, but and a lot of questioning. But there's been many instances where patterns have been predicted as far out as 200 hours, 240 hours plus. So, especially given the fact that we do have these extreme temperatures already ongoing, I don't think it'll take much for this just to kind of shift over towards the east and start impacting these areas with those anomalies. And this may not seem really bad for the Dakotas, hundreds. But it is already at this point September 12th. So, I guess the silver lining, another silver lining, is that if this was July and you'd see these same anomalies, it would be close to probably 115 to 20 here. So, it's still hot, it's 100 plus, but it could have been worse if this was in July, earlier on in the growing season, probably caused more damage. Now if many areas get tossed into a drought, that will not necessarily be good, but hopefully, through fall and winter, they could get out of that. And notice eastern seaboard also several days where it's very hot. Also several areas that are going to be cool. That's probably correlated with some sort of a cloud cover, some sort of a system. So at least there's that. But some of these temperatures are going to be, really, really warm, and you could imagine that the humidity will probably also very, very high. So, hopefully that does change as we get into later in the fall and we don't see these extreme heat waves. And I do believe that October will probably be also warm, but come November, that should flip. That's my prediction, though. Notice Climate Prediction Center. So this is a very good source. They give you these 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day outlooks. They upload or update them daily, including on the weekends. And notice that what we do see is a warm pattern predicted through the 6 through the 10, and it's again pretty much all throughout the country. So I agree with that. I think that's pretty accurate what's going to go on. Notice there could be a bit of above average across the west here, so again limiting potentially some of those dangers. That is good, but notice where a lot of the heat will be spreading to, the northern plains, it is going to be drier, and again, that heat will stay there for longer. You can see 8 to 14 outlook, so this is a bit further out. The west is starting to cool off, but then the east and central U.S. is still stuck in these very, very warm temperatures. And again, not really a wetter pattern. In some areas, even drier. The west seeing a bit above average, which would be a good thing. They wouldn't need these rains here. But the rest, bushfires, and there still are sizable forests across the north and southern Canada, so those could also catch a blaze. It's not just a western U.S. problem. This is a 3 to 4 week outlook. This takes us out even farther out, kind of speculative at this point, but the 17th through the 30th, you can see they're favoring warm temperatures. Again, the confidence isn't too high, other than you can see the eastern seaboard, but if you were to take a shot in the dark, its chances are that it will be warmer come late September than cooler. So I kind of agree with that forecast. Again, the details are just a bit too far out to get focused on, but yes, truly a very, very, very warm pattern. Let's take a look at the NAM 12KM. This is the high range model that goes out to only 84 hours, but it gives us a good look at, a short range distance with a bit more accuracy. So this is tonight. This is where a lot of the, the lows will be. So find your location on this map. You can see Midwest actually dealing with some pretty chilly temperatures across Minnesota, Wisconsin. There could be some 40s, maybe even some close to frost conditions across the arrowhead of Minnesota there. Again, it is already September 4th at this point, so that's definitely something to note for. Tomorrow a beautiful day for a lot of the Great Lakes. Very almost chilly temperatures. That most likely will be changing as we get into the week. Again, a lot of this heat here starting to get bad across the plains. Absolutely ablaze across Utah, Nevada. Those are very, very warm temperatures there, 80s, 90s. Again, getting warmer each and every day. You can still see, though, Monday still a pretty good day for a lot of the Great Lakes. You may be wondering where that heat is on the early part of the week, but it'll get there. You'll see. And you could see that, again, at this point, the plains are very warm. Even Minnesota starting to get in the mid-80s. Still, obliterating the west with those very high temperatures. The south is starting to get pretty warm, but again, that's more reasonable, those temperatures there. And this model takes us out only to 84 hours, so 1 a.m. on Wednesday, but you could see the difference. 1 a.m. on Wednesday, early Wednesday, temperatures are going to be in the 60s across northern Minnesota compared to tonight, where they could be in the 40s, right? So it's quite a bit of a difference there. And again, that's going to be a ongoing trend. We're going to be seeing a warming pattern across the United States this upcoming weekend into this next weekend. Well, warming depends on where you live. For the most part, it's going to be warming. The west will be cooling off a little bit, but still remaining above average for a good while, up until probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. Not this upcoming one, but the week of the 10th, 12th, I think. That's when we can start seeing some more normal temperatures moving in. And the confidence on that is still, unfortunately, a bit lower. In terms of precipitation, weather-wise, weather, I guess, in terms of just rain, snow, what may be ongoing, really not that much. Pretty quiet pattern. There will be a little bit of activity across the southeast here and the eastern seaboard. We're bringing a little bit of rain, but you can see it pretty quiet. That heat wave, that high pressure ridge is really keeping things in control. However, I do want to note that we are seeing increasing confidence. I mentioned this yesterday, of a tropical storm. A borderline, very strong hurricane actually, in the Pacific Ocean around this upcoming week. Late this week into next weekend, we're hitting the Baja Peninsula and bringing a lot of moisture and actually crossing into California, according to the GFS, as probably a tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm. I don't think that's happened in a while, but what this will bring, if this does occur the way it's showing, which again, it's not far out and it is in agreement with the European model, shows a lot of rain for Southern California. You may think this is a good thing, and to an extent, yes, but that is just way too much. That's definitely going to cause flooding if that were to occur, and that will also lead to a increase in moisture. So probably the monsoons for the next few days after that will be increased and intensified. You could see that those rains hang around there for a while and finally move out in a bigger fashion. But you can see also the northwest getting on some action there. It's typical kind of fall-like thing almost going on there. So that's definitely something to note from as well. And just to prove my point, I do want to show you the European model and show you that it also shows that tropical storm. So again, you can see for the next few days, I mean, it's pretty high and dry for most areas. There will be the spotty showers, and these could be concerning if they, stay over one area for a while, causing some flash flooding issues. So that's definitely still something to note for. Notice the European doesn't show not nearly as strong of a system, though still a lot of moisture, a lot of rain. And again, it's not really the strength of the storm, the winds that are concerning for California. It's just the amount of water. Obviously, with the stronger storm, you could assume more moisture. Not necessarily, but in this case, you can see the European does still bring in moisture. It's not nearly as much, but you could still see that it produces a decent amount of rain, which, that would probably be actually a better case scenario, right? Less rain, and that probably wouldn't be enough to cause, devastating flooding, but definitely enough to still kind of, basically enough to kind of maybe tame some of the drought conditions and not, I guess, and lower some of the wildfire risk. So not the worst case scenario if the European is correct, but compared to the GFS, you can see the GFS shows some pretty high amounts across Southern California, something that you wouldn't really want to see. But you can see it brings generous rains into Nevada, into Utah, covering the whole state of Nevada and almost into almost 2 inches of rain. That'll definitely be beneficial as long as it's not too abrupt. Canadian model, let's see this one. I do believe this one was the model yesterday that showed the tropical storm, but it kind of took it into inland New Mexico or Mexico first, and I think it does that again. Yep, so you can see it takes a turn quicker, and it doesn't really deliver too much moisture across the west. Maybe it does deliver some moisture, but that's in not necessarily in a form of rain, just kind of atmospheric moisture. And you can see that the Canadian, what it shows is also peaceful conditions relatively. And then once that ridge moves out of there, that heat wave starts shifting towards the east, we start seeing some storms hit into the northwestern United States. And that could definitely be something to watch for, an increased activity due to the La Nina potentially. You can see some snow across, Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, definitely not unusual. And yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's basically all I have for you. And I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.